Edgar Allan Poe. Edgar Allan Poe had a very chaotic childhood. Edgar Allan Poe was born on January 19, 1809 in Boston, Massachusetts. Poe's parents were traveling actors and he never got the chance to know them because his father left the family and his mother passed away when he was only 3. He was then taken in by the Allens, a wealthy tobacco merchant family. Since he was young, Poe had always been interested in writing, and by the age of 13 he had compiled enough poetry to publish a book. His adoptive father wanted Poe to become a businessman, but Poe had dreams of being a writer. In 1826, Poe attended University of Virginia. He was quickly in debt since his father only supplied him with 1/3 of what he needed, so he took up gambling, which only made it worse. In result, he had to burn his furniture to keep warm. Angry for the circumstances, he decided to go home, only to find his fiancée had remarried while he was gone. After the heartbreak, Poe published his first book called Tamerlane when he was only 18. Then, after his mother had died, Poe joined the United States Military Academy in West Point, where only 8 months later he was thrown out. By then he had published 3 pieces. Then around 20 years later, in 1985, publication of The Raven made Poe a household name. Poe is a very well-known poet and writer. He opened the way for detective and mystery stories, as well as horror. His best-known stories and poems are The Fall of the House of Usher, The Telltale Heart, The Murders in the Rue Morgue, and The Raven. He was one of the originators of both horror and detective fiction. His stories were dark, mysterious, and very ironic. Edgar Allan Poe's writing influenced many people, not just future authors, but future filmmakers as well. An example of which would be Tim Burton. Tim Burton is a current well-known film director, producer, writer, and animator. He has produced and directed many films that are very well-known, such as The Nightmare Before Christmas, Beetlejuice, and one of his most recent films, Alice in Wonderland. Tim Burton was born on August 25, 1958 in Burbank, California. His parents were Jean Ray and William Reed Burton. Growing up, Tim did not have a very good relationship with his parents. When Tim was young, he enjoyed spending much of his time reading books, drawing, and watching old movies. Once Tim graduated from high school, he attended California Institute of Arts. His first job was an apprentice animator at Walt Disney Studios. Tim, while working at Disney, attempted to make a few films which were rejected. Tim Burton's first movie was called Vincent. Vincent was an animated short about a boy who one day dreamed of becoming just like his idol, Vincent Price. Edgar Allan Poe and Tim Burton are very similar. They both share the same storytelling techniques. They both use the same type of imagery, and both use ominous feel in their work. One difference is that Poe's work deals more with people reaching insanity, while Tim Burton's work deals more with creepy things in life. Both Poe and Burton share the similarity of how they create their work. They both have several pieces that showed the real talent of the two. Both of them write in an obvious style, Gothic literature. This makes their stories creepy and overall experience of a person being driven to madness, or sometimes the character can be driven to heroics. Overall, they share the same reader's experience and writing techniques. Even growing up, they had similarities. They were both surrounded by death, but in different ways. Poe's parents had died when he was young, and Tim often enjoyed playing in a nearby cemetery as a young boy.
So, Tim, what movies did you grow up watching?
I grew up loving monsters and horror films. My parents tell me I watched them before I could even walk or talk. Many people would make fun of me because I would be into things that they obviously weren't into, such as horror films.
Yes, of course. So, Mr. Burton, tell us how you started. What were your first steps in becoming such an amazing filmmaker?
Really, it all started after I majored in animation at California Institute of Arts. After I graduated, I became an apprentice animator at Walt Disney Studios, and not much less than a year after I joined Walt Disney, I decided to see how well I could do on my own. And in 1982, I released an award-winning short called Vincent, and I believe that Vincent was the opening of a brand new window of opportunity for me.
What style was used in your film called Vincent?
It's a pastiche of styles that I got from the writings of Dr. Seuss and Edgar Allan Poe.